Hi, my name is Megan Twano. I am an associate consultant at Slalom, and this is my first year. I'm really excited to start. I started as an end user where I was using it for an education platform, and I felt very limited to what I could do at the time. And I had a suggestion from a relative actually that suggested starting Salesforce, and I got on the platform. It did take a few months here, but after a while, I was completely captivated by how good the material was on Trailhead, combining it with videos and lectures. And I just kind of went from there. My goal was to just get on and be consistent. And I think that's the biggest thing when it comes to Salesforce or learning in general. It's relearning how to learn. That was the biggest part, but also staying consistent and promising to myself that I was going to complete either two to trailheads at a time. And then from there, just appearing day after day. When I didn't want to, I would find trailheads that were fun, perhaps not related to what I was studying, and combining it with fun things that I knew that Salesforce could do. And then also my learning material really helped in just pursuing the trailhead modules. It really has. With my 5 certifications, every time they trail off of each other. And when I get sales or when I got service and when I got Experience Cloud and I'm studying for financial services, that's really led on to all of the ideas from my previous certifications to be able to add into new ones. So I already have quite the rest of the year planned for the rest of the certifications just because I know that they align with each other. And it's been really exciting kind of being like, oh, I can use this here, I can use this there. So I really loved adding on the certifications over the time. My hardest certification was actually Experience Cloud. So I do a lot of like website designs and editing and moderating. And I really thought that that's what Experience Cloud was going to be. And when I had to learn that on top of feeling like, oh, this will be an easy one, it was definitely harder than expected. But Focus on Force did help me really focus down on the areas that I had no idea would be asked in the test. I would always say that budgeting your time is really hard. So I had to come up with fun places on where to go. So now I just go to coffee shops and I get a coffee. And that's kind of like my mindset of being, okay, I'm here to study and that's what I'm going to do the rest of the day. So I definitely think the time was one of them, but also the mental space of getting ready to study. Sure. So what a typical day for me is like is right now I'm working with one client and we usually have our stand up in the morning. And then the rest of the day, we will go over internal meetings of tasks that we have to do, tickets that we have to also complete. And then sometimes the rest of it is just actually studying and advancing and putting more knowledge on trailheads on what our client is specifically focusing on. So I can kind of stay ahead of the game. So that's kind of what a typical day would look like. 150%. So when I first started Trailhead, I always found myself returning back to Focus on Force, that being the core place where I would understand the basic concepts of, let's say, Experience Cloud or the in-depth places within Experience Cloud, or even setting for my admin. The Focus on Force was key for my admin. But I always have used Focus on Force. I love the bank questions. I love the questions at the end. I love how there's pictures involved as well. I love how there's a mind map now that you can really, really utilize, especially for people that are more visual learners like myself. But for all those 5 certifications, I've always centered myself around Focus on Force. It's funny that you asked that because I always tell people focus on your communication at the end of the day, how you're delivering and the project management side of it, because communication is key in this industry. If you learn the technology and you can't explain to people what you just learned, that's going to hinder your ability for being a consultant or an admin. We always have to remain people focused. Try and cater to what you learn best, but also make sure that you're explaining it to people in a very beginner way, but also making it fun at the same time. At the end of the day, everybody wants to feel welcomed. Everybody needs that human communication. I think that we really established that over the pandemic again. We can have the greatest platform in the world, but if we're not putting our people first, it's just going to remain the same and we aren't going to grow. So I love that question. That's another great question. And my answer will always come back down to community. Without the community, I don't know where I would be. When you learn alone, you only learn your type of way. But when you learn with others, you learn it how they understand things. And their way might be better, or they might be more insightful and more knowledgeable because they might have different experiences than you. So I would always, always, always suggest to people when they are starting any type of learning journey, it's to just find that community, stay with them, stick with them, and at least know you have them as you all keep advancing towards your journey.